Let's be honest, if you're a fan of the 90-Day Fiancé universe, there are certain faces that feel less like reality TV stars and more like distant, incredibly dramatic family members. We've been with them through airport greetings, tearful goodbyes, explosive fights over steak, and questionable life choices. We've yelled at our screens, cheered for their small victories, and collectively sighed during their inevitable heartbreaks. At the very center of this whirlwind, holding a sparkly, tear-stained crown, is the undisputed queen of the franchise, Darcy Silva. For years she has been a cornerstone, a constant presence whose quest for love has been one of the most compelling and at times excruciating narratives on television. But after watching her navigate the treacherous waters of love time and time again, a difficult question has started to bubble up for many of us. Is the very spotlight that made her a star now the biggest obstacle to her finding the happiness she so desperately deserves? When we first met Darcy, she was a whirlwind of hope, designer labels, and unbridled emotion, ready to jet off to Amsterdam for a man she'd met online, Jesse Meester. There was something magnetic about her vulnerability. She wore her heart not just on her sleeve, but on every available surface. She wanted a fairy tale, a grand romance, and a man who would cherish her big, beautiful heart. We wanted it for her too. But what we witnessed was a slow-motion car crash of love. The initial sparks quickly gave way to toxic, circular arguments that were as exhausting to watch as they must have been to live. The accusations, the emotional manipulation, the infamous cutting of the steak on a bias. It was a masterclass in incompatibility. We saw the first glimpses of a painful pattern, a deep-seated need for validation that often seemed to attract men who would withhold it, creating a devastating cycle of pursuit and rejection. It was uncomfortable, yet utterly captivating, and it cemented Darcy as a fixture in our reality TV lives. We held our collective breath when she returned to the franchise with a new man, Tom Brooks, from the UK. Maybe this was it. He was different from Jesse, older, seemingly more refined, a suave British gentleman to her vibrant American personality. Our hope for Darcy was renewed. We watched her prepare for their first in-person meeting, her optimism so palpable it felt like we could reach through the screen and give her a supportive hug. But history, as it so often does, began to rhyme. The fairy tale facade quickly crumbled, revealing a foundation of condescension and emotional distance. The dream of a proposal was replaced with the sting of being hidden from his life, culminating in one of the most iconic and cruel dismissals in the show's history. Did you put on weight? It was a gut punch, not just for Darcy, but for every viewer who had invested their own hopes in her journey. Her tears felt like our tears. Her heartbreak resonated because we've all, in some way, felt the sting of not being chosen, of giving our all to someone who couldn't or wouldn't return it. Now we find ourselves in the Georgie Rusev era, a whirlwind quarantine romance that led to engagements, breakups, and ultimately, a secret marriage that is now playing out on 90-Day Fiancé, happily ever after. The question mark in that title has never felt more appropriate. On the surface, she finally has what she's always wanted, a ring on her finger and a husband by her side. But as we watch their dynamic, that familiar, sinking feeling returns. The power imbalance is stark. The way Georgie often speaks down to her, dismissing her feelings and controlling the narrative, feels chillingly reminiscent of her past relationships. The constant bickering, the underlying tension, the sense that Darcy is once again shrinking herself to keep a man. It's not just drama anymore, it's genuinely difficult to watch. The entertainment has shifted to concern. We're no longer just watching a show. We're watching a woman we've known for years potentially repeat a cycle that has only ever brought her pain. This leads us to the heart of the matter. After all these years and all these failed or failing relationships, we have to wonder if the problem isn't just the men, but the camera itself. Living your most vulnerable moments in front of a national audience creates a unique kind of pressure cooker. Every date, every argument, every tear is a potential storyline. Is it possible that, consciously or not, Darcy is drawn to relationships that thrive on this drama? Is the need to create a compelling narrative for television getting in the way of building a healthy, stable partnership in real life? The Darcy Silva persona, the glamorous, emotional, love-obsessed reality star, is a powerful brand. But it might be eclipsing the real Darcy, the woman who needs and deserves a quiet, steady, and respectful love, the kind of love that doesn't necessarily make for explosive television. For years we've been on this roller coaster with her, and because we've grown to care, it's time to say what feels true. Maybe the best thing for Darcy Silva is to step away from the 90-Day Fiancé franchise. It's a hard thing to admit, as she is such a vital part of its history, but her truest happily ever after might not be found in another season or another spin-off. It might be found in privacy. It might be found in the quiet work of healing, of learning to source validation from within, and of discovering what a relationship looks like without the pressure of a production schedule. The greatest love story Darcy could ever show us is the one where she chooses herself, completely and unequivocally, away from our prying eyes, and as true fans, we should be rooting for that above all else.